come by it honestly, and I can't help it. You know, singing that song, It's My Desire, made me think of my grandpa. Think of him singing it because he meant it. It meant something to him. All that Grandpa wanted was to live for Jesus and do what the Lord had for him and have a purpose in God's kingdom. And all I could do is ask the Lord that I could have a purpose too. I don't know who this message is for, and it could be that it's just for me. And I know that many people have preached from this, and maybe it's just one more time reminding us. If you could stand, I'd like to read. It says, Matthew 24 and 36. Read a few verses there. It says, But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. It says at the end of that 44, it says, Therefore ye shall be ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man cometh. Would you pray, Dad? Lord, I can't do this by myself. Lord, I stand out of the way. Lord, I stand out of the way, Jesus. Lord, you have to do this. Lord, move me out of the way. Spirit.
Lord, feed us. I ask it in Jesus' name.
You know, the Lord was very quiet all week. My dad asked me last Sunday if I would preach. And I told the Lord a long time ago that any opportunity that he would give me to do that, I would stand here. Or anywhere. If I was given the opportunity, I would preach. And so I said, Lord, I'm counting on you. I can't do this by myself. I'm not good enough for this. And he knows that. So he was very quiet all week. And even today, Stephanie said, do you know what you're going to preach about? And I said, not yet. But I know he'll come through for me because he always does. I was sitting back on the back porch, and James was out there mowing. I was just listening to the mower and reading my Bible, and, you know, all of a sudden I flipped over to this, and I felt in myself, this is what I'm supposed to preach on. And I've heard it preached on 1,000,000 times. But I don't think it's just for sinners being ready. Yes, everyone in the church needs to be ready. People in the world need to be ready when he comes because we don't know when. We don't know how. We don't know how it's going to be. But when he comes, that's it. We all have our chance to do what the Lord wants us to do. We're all given a chance to be in the church and know who God is one way or another. But it's also for us in the church that the Lord is giving us something to do. We need to be out there telling others about the Lord, what he's done, the blessings that he has for them, and be ready for their questions because they're looking for answers. They're looking for somebody to turn to that has the answers they're looking for. All the answers we need are right here. If you're seeking after the Lord, keep seeking. If you think you found the Lord, you better keep seeking. He always has more. He always has more. it says as in the days of Noah were. And so I went back, and I've read it a bunch of times. But it says, go back one page here. It said, and God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. He said, it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. The Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and a creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, and repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the sight of the Lord. If Noah can find grace in the sight of the Lord, why can't we? He was a godly man because he wanted to be. He had I'm sure he had all the struggles that every one of us have. The war up here, the people around him, the things he was doing. The man was building an ark and had never seen rain. But he trusted God enough and knew God enough that he built it anyway.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You know, and people don't know when God's coming. We don't. But the people around Noah were told day in and day out what the ark was for. They had a chance. They had the chance to get on that boat, and I guarantee that Noah talked to them. It didn't matter who it was. It was a guy bringing the nails, bringing the supplies. I'm sure that family members came and helped and knew exactly what that ark was for. But they didn't have faith enough to believe it. They didn't love Noah enough to believe what he was saying, and they didn't love God enough to realize the faith that Noah had in him. Noah had the faith, I believe. Didn't matter what God told him to do, he was going to do it. It's just like when Abraham took Isaac up on the mountain. He told them, we will return. He told his servants, we'll come back. He already knew that God was going to provide everything that he needed. But he still didn't hold his son over what God wanted. That was the greatest thing in his life, is to have that son. That's all he ever wanted. Why can't God be that to us? Why can't he be the greatest part of who we are? I don't stand here a perfect person. None of us are. But God loved us enough to give us an opportunity to love him more and more every day.
That's right.
And though we fall, though we fail, though we say we'll never do it again, God, I won't ever do that again. I'm so sorry. And next week we're back at it. He says, all right, pick yourself back up. Let's get back to where we need to be, and let's move forward. And he forgives us. He lets us be ready one more time for when he's coming. But it's up to me. It's up to you and you. Every one of us in here, whether or not we want to be ready. We could live our whole lives in the church. My whole life I've been in the church. Been going to church since before I was born. I haven't lived it completely. But I didn't love God the right way. I didn't see him for who he was. But Jesus kept. Are you ready yet? And all the things that all of us have been through in our lives, he was there through all of it, giving us one more chance to be ready. Because there's somebody out there could live for the Lord all their life and decide there's just nothing to it. He's been saying he's coming for years. I've heard it all my life, and he still ain't here. I can't take it anymore. I don't want to be that one. No matter what I go through, I still want to be ready. Because all the things that I've went through in my life are not because God made that decision. I made that decision. I'm the one that said, I want to do this because what I want matters more. I want to be ready because I know that God is more important than anything in my life. I want to be ready when he comes so that when he comes like a thief in the night, I'm not trying to say a 5-second fire prayer, try to fix myself, because you don't have 5 seconds. You have a twinkling of an eye. You don't have time to try to fix everything that you wanted to do a week ago just because I just decided that it was better for this flesh. I wanted what this flesh wanted instead of what God wanted. Be ready. No matter what, no matter who, be ready. If you got to leave people behind, be ready. Though it's hard to say. If y'all don't go, I'm going. Even if I got to fight the rest of my life with voices and past things and things coming against me, fighting and screaming, I'm going. Because the Lord loves me that much. Why can't I love him the same? Be ready, no matter what.